So let's talk about what you wear a magnetic bracelet for. I've seen success with carpal tunnel in the wrist, tendonitis in the elbows, frozen shoulder in women, tendonitis in shoulders. Anything with an itis at the end of it is an inflammation in the body. And magnets are a natural approach to dealing with inflammatory issues. Proximity, as we've discussed before, can make a difference. You're wise to wear it as close as you can to the area that bothers you the most. I've seen bracelets. Sometimes strength is an important factor. Work on back pain. Big men. Tough stuff. I've seen bracelets work on hip pain. I had a group that was in Arroyo Grande, California, and they were brought to an event by a woman who was a translator for them. They were deaf. And so they signed and everything. And the woman explained to them her success with using magnets. And I had a gentleman come up and look at me, and he pointed to his hip, that he had hip pain. Now, he was not open to wearing an anklet, because that was probably the first thing I was going to suggest. But he got a bracelet. He got one of our stronger ones. And he walked away wearing it. That show was about an 8-hour show during the day, and it was about 4 hours when the entire group came back to me. And he looked at me, and his hip pain would bother him when he sat down and stood up. That's really when he noticed it. And he caught my eye, and he wanted me to watch him. And he sat down in the chair that I had by my booth, and he stood up, and he went like that to me. He was very happy, had a big smile on his face. The woman that was helping all of them was so thankful that they had found support for relieving pain that did not involve drugs for them. She was very happy about that. I'd also like to talk about a man, and you could tell he had been an athletic in his earlier life, and he was probably in his early 50s. He came by the Sacramento State Fair in July of 2013. And I was working with his wife. She had a shoulder that was giving her problems. Now, she had worn a weak magnet on the wrist of that arm for a good 5 years. It was a high-end magnet. It was over $200 that she had paid for this piece of jewelry. But it wasn't working on the shoulder. And she had felt that it had worked before. So what we did, because she also told me she had neck tension and things like that, I put a necklace on her while she was there in the booth. And as she stood there, she started to move around, and she was probably there. We were talking for a good 10 or 15 minutes, and she's moving the shoulder, and all of a sudden she puts her hand behind her back. Now, her husband takes a look at that, and I did not know this. She couldn't do that before, but he did know it. And he looked right at me and he said, "What do you have for back pain?" I had surgery 2 months before, and I'm still in pain. And so he was a big man, so I showed him one of our double magnetic pieces of jewelry. And I said, for your size and what you're talking about, I would suggest the double magnet. You need a decent amount of strength. You want it to get to your back. That was Monday evening that they had come by the fair. And on Thursday night, they came back. And he looked at me and he said, "Cricket, my back pain's gone." Now, we're all different. Is that going to be the same scenario for every person? No. But it can dramatically affect how the tissue is able to function and deal with inflammation in the body.